Hello, this is Dash Gardner once again, and welcome back to the Poorly Drawn Animation with Decent Information series featuring yours truly, me. Today we will be taking a look at 28 math terms and how they are derived. Now, to kick this off, the word geometry seems pretty fitting. It is derived from the conjunction of the Greek word for earth, geos, and the term to measure, metros. Literally then, geometry means to measure the earth. Fraction comes from the Latin word francare, to break. This makes sense as fractions are all about breaking whole numbers into smaller numbers. Diagonal comes from the Greek roots dia, to pass through or join, and gonus, angle, and describes the line segment which passes from the vertex of one angle to another in a polygon. Next up is googol, a number invented by the 9-year-old nephew of Dr. Edward Kasner. He came up with it when he was asked to think of a name for a 1 followed by 100 zeros. 10 to the 100th power is such a large number that the largest reasonable estimates for the number of particles in the universe is only about 10 to the 85th power, at least circa 2002. A googol is 1,000,000 times a billion that much. Hypotenuse comes from the common Greek root hypo, for under, as in hypodermic, under the skin, and the less common tine, or ten, for stretch. This last is the source of our modern word tension. The hypotenuse was the line segment stretched under the right angle. Polyhedron is the name for a solid with many faces, the joining of poly, many, with hedros, face or seat. The hedros originally referred to any flat surface. Later, in the Latin, hedra was used for a chair. Flat places are good to sit on. And the root is preserved in our words for cathedra, the bishop's chair, and cathedral, where it is kept. Symmetry is from the Greek roots sum and metros. The prefix refers to things which are alike, and metros is the Greek word for measure. Metros is the root of the word geometry as well. Obtuse is from the Latin formation ob, against, and tendere, to beat, and literally means to beat against. An object thus beaten becomes blunt, dull, or rounded, and the application to an obtuse angle is in this sense. Isosceles is the union of the Greek iso, same or equal, and skelos, legs, and refers to two sides of an object as being the same length, as in isosceles triangles and isosceles trapezoids. The root iso shows up in many scientific and mathematical words such as isometry, same measure, and isomorphic, same shape. Isobar is used in both chemistry, two atoms with equal atomic weight, and meteorology, lines connecting points of equal barometric pressure. Exponent is the union of the Latin roots exo, out of, and ponere, place. The literal interpretation is to make something visible or obvious. The English word expound, from the same source, means to make clear. An exponent is also used in the English language to describe a person who explains or interprets. Exponent, as a math term, was introduced by Michael Stifel, 1487 to 1567, in his book Arithmetica Integra in 1544. Divide shares its major root with the word widow. The root vidua refers to separation. In widow, the meaning is obvious, one who is separated from the spouse. A similar version of the word was often meant to describe the feelings that a widow would feel. The prefix di, of divide, is a contraction of dis, meaning apart or away, as in the process of division, in which equal parts are separated from each other. The word absolute, from the term absolute value, is a variant from absolve, and has a meaning related to free from restriction or condition. It seems the mathematical phrase was first used by Carl Weierstrass in reference to complex numbers. Acute is from the Latin root acuus, for the needle, which derivates generalizing anything to pointed or sharp. The root persists in the words acupuncture, to treat with needles, and acumen, mentally sharp. An acute angle, then, is one which is sharp or pointed. Algebra comes from an Arabic book that revolutionized how mathematics was done in Western cultures. Al-Jabr wal Maqabala, written by Abu Ja'far ben Musa, about 825 AD, who was also known as Al-Khwarizmi. The phrase algebra at the start of the title becomes the word algebra in Western languages. The phrase means the reunion of broken parts. Algorithm, as it is used in mathematics, means a systematic procedure to solve a problem. The word is derived from the name of the Hindu mathematician Al-Khwarizmi. The first use of the word was by G.W. Leibniz in the late 1600s. It remained a little-known and little-used term in Western mathematics until the Russian mathematician Andrei Markov, who lived from 1856 to 1922, introduced it. The term became very popular in areas of math focused on computing and computation. The Latin root for circle is circus. The traditional shape of the large roofless enclosures in which the famous Roman chariot races were run was circular or oblong, and thus the word came to describe the shape as well. Logarithm is the combination of two Greek roots, logos, reason or ratio, and arithmos, number. The ratio refers to the original method of constructing logarithms by geometric sequences. The name was introduced by John Napier, who lived from 1550 to 1617, in his work on logarithms, originally the Latin form, and subsequently in the English correspondence with Briggs. Plus, as in 2 plus 2 that's 4 minus 1 that's 3 quick maths, comes from the early Latin root meaning more. Extensions of the root were used for related ideas like fill, full, and abundant. Common words of today related to the same root are plenty. Complement, meaning complete or fill, as in complementary angles, the amount needed to complete a right angle, plural, more than one, and surplus, abundant, more than enough. The word is closely related to the Greek root poly, for many. Tying in with plus, polygon is from the Greek roots poly, many, and gonus, knees, and interprets literally as many-angled. The relation between knee and angle relates to the flexed position of the knee. Poly appears in many words, and gonus remains mainly in its Latin derivative, genus, from which we get genuflect, to bend the knee. According to John Conway, terms like gnaw are from the same root, perhaps because the line of the jaw forms the same shape as the bent knee. Our number for 1,000 comes from an extension of 100. The roots are from the Germanic roots tu and hant. Tu refers to a thickening or swelling, and hant is the root for our present-day 100. 1,000, then, literally means a swollen or a large 100. Our word zero comes to us from the Arabs, much like algebra, and it's from the root cifra, from which we also get the word cipher. Vector is derived from the Latin root vehire, to carry. The root is also the source of everyday words like vehicle. The mathematical use of vector was introduced by W.R. Hamilton. Slope is derived from the Latin root sleb, for slip. The relation seems to be the level or ground slipping away as you go forward. The root is also the progenitor of sleeve, the arm slips into it, and by dropping the s in front of it we get lubricate and lubricious, a word describing a person who is slick or even slimy. The mathematical meaning of slope was first used by V.R. Rickley around 1850. Both the word and the use of the letter M as its symbol seem to have originated in the United States. Square is derived from the Latin phrase ex quadrare, like a quadratic. Over time, the term was contracted into its present form and came to mean the regular quadrilateral. Subtract joins two very easy to understand roots. The sub, which commonly means under or below, and the tract from words like tractor and traction, meaning to pull away or carry. Subtraction, then, literally means to carry away from the bottom part. Secant is from the Latin root secare, to cut. It is a proper name for a segment that cuts through the circle. The word was introduced by Thomas Finck in 1853 in Latin. Prime is from the Latin word for first, primus. Prime numbers are thus the first, or most basic, of numbers in a multiplicative sense. Other words drawn from the same root include primary, first in rank or order, primitive, first of its kind, prima donna, literally the first lady, and principal, first in power, from the derivative of princeps, for ruler. The word prince, again from princeps, was originally referred to for a king, but later the French applied it to the term any male member of the royal family. 100 is from the German root Hand. The quality that it represents has not been consistent over the years and has ranged from its present value, 100 to 112 to 120 to 124, and even 132 at different times in different areas. The remnants of these ancient measures still persist in the hundredweight measures of some countries, presenting 112 or 120 pounds, depending on the country. Lastly, congruent. The Greek word meant coming together or working together. Whether it's applied to the geometric shape or a military unit, in both cases it means that all parts fit together and are equal. Thank y'all for watching, and I'd love to catch you next time on Poorly Drawn Animation with decent information. Bye.
All day, I think about you all day. Can't live without you all